What if I told you that the immigration crisis you see on the news every single day is manufactured? What if the very people screaming about border security are the same people who profit from keeping borders broken? And what if the anger you feel, the frustration your neighbors feel, the fear in your community is being deliberately directed at the wrong target? Stay with me, because what I'm about to show you will change how you see everything. Here's a fact that will blow your mind. The United States government spends over $18 billion every single year on immigration enforcement. $18 billion. But here's the kicker. Illegal immigration keeps increasing anyway. So either the most powerful military in human history is completely incompetent at securing a border, or someone wants it this way. Which do you think is more likely? Let me paint you a picture. It's Monday morning. Sarah, a single mother in Ohio, drops her kids off at an overcrowded school where her daughter's class has 35 students instead of 20. The teacher is overwhelmed. Resources are stretched thin. That same morning, David, a construction worker in Texas, shows up to a job site where the contractor tells him, "Sorry, we're going with cheaper labor. We can't afford to pay union wages anymore." And across the country, Maria, a nurse in California, works double shifts because the hospital is understaffed, but somehow they can't find the budget to hire more nurses at decent wages. Sarah blames the immigrant families in her school district. David blames the workers willing to work for less. Maria blames everyone. But what if I told you? They're all fighting the wrong enemy. What if the real enemy is sitting in boardrooms, counting profits while communities tear themselves apart? You see, there's a game being played, and you, me, all of us, we're not the players. We're the pieces being moved around the board. But once you see the game, once you understand the rules, everything changes. So buckle up, because we're about to expose the biggest scam in modern politics. Let's start with something that should make your blood boil. There are companies, publicly traded companies, that make money every single day from immigration problems, not from solving them, from maintaining them. GEO Group, Core Civic. These aren't household names, but they should be. They run private prisons and detention centers. Their stock prices literally go up when more people are detained. Think about that insanity for a second. There are shareholders, real people, who wake up hoping more families get separated today because it means bigger dividends. But it gets worse. These same companies spend millions lobbying Congress. They wine and dine the very politicians who make immigration policy. And surprise, surprise, those policies always seem to create more business for detention centers. It's like having the fire department start fires to justify their budget. But the detention centers are just the tip of the iceberg. There's an entire ecosystem feeding off this crisis. Security contractors getting billion-dollar border wall contracts, technology companies selling surveillance systems, legal firms processing endless paperwork, transportation companies moving people around. And here's the sick part. When politicians talk about comprehensive immigration reform, many of these companies' stock prices drop because investors know that solving the problem would hurt profits. So ask yourself, if there are billionaires making money from immigration chaos, how motivated are they to actually fix it? The answer should terrify you. Now, I want to talk directly to everyone who's struggling, everyone who feels like their community is changing too fast, everyone who's scared about their job, their kids' schools, their neighborhood safety. Your feelings are valid, your struggles are real, and anyone who tells you otherwise is lying. When your local emergency room has 4-hour wait times, when your kid's school can't afford textbooks, when you're competing for jobs that used to pay twice as much, that pain is real. But here's what they don't want you to figure out. That hospital was already understaffed because private equity firms bought it and cut staff to maximize profits. Your kid's school was already underfunded because corporations pay almost no taxes while getting massive subsidies. Those jobs were already moving overseas, or being automated long before any immigrants showed up. The problems are real, but the cause, that's where they've been lying to you. See, it's much easier to point at someone who looks different, speaks differently, or just arrived, than to point at the billionaire who owns 3 companies, pays no taxes, and just laid off 500 workers to buy his 4th yacht. Here's a question that should keep you up at night. If immigration is really the problem, why do the richest people in America hire undocumented workers? Trump's golf courses, high-end restaurants, Silicon Valley tech bros housekeepers, wealthy suburbs landscaping crews. They could easily verify everyone's status. They have the resources. But they don't, because they want cheap labor. So the same people telling you immigrants are the problem are the ones creating the demand for illegal immigration. They want you angry at the symptoms while they profit from the disease. Let me blow your mind with some technology facts. We have satellites that can track your cell phone from space. We have facial recognition that can identify you wearing a mask and sunglasses. We have thermal imaging that can see through walls. The Pentagon can track a single person anywhere on Earth within minutes. But somehow, we can't secure a border? Give me a break. The truth is, they don't want to secure it completely, because illegal immigration serves a purpose. It creates a permanent underclass of workers who can't complain, can't unionize, can't demand fair wages. It's modern-day indentured servitude. And when citizens get angry about unfair competition, instead of raising wages or improving working conditions, they just blame the workers instead of the employers. It's genius, really. Evil, but genius. Here's proof this is intentional. Every few years, politicians promise massive border security improvements. They spend billions on walls, drones, and agents. Immigration enforcement becomes this huge theater production. But you know what never happens? They never go after the employers. Think about it. If you really wanted to stop illegal immigration, you'd make it impossible for people to find work without proper documentation. You'd audit every business. You'd put CEOs in jail for hiring undocumented workers. But that never happens, because the people making immigration policy are connected to the people who profit from illegal immigration. Instead, they create this elaborate show of border enforcement that costs taxpayers billions while changing nothing. It's like trying to stop drug dealing by only arresting users while leaving dealers alone. Now let's zoom out and see the bigger picture. Because this isn't just about one country's borders. Why do people migrate in the first place? Really think about this. Most people don't want to leave their families, their culture, their homeland. Migration is usually desperation, not choice. So what creates that desperation? Let me tell you about some coincidences that aren't coincidences. Libya used to control migration from Africa to Europe. It was stable, relatively prosperous. Then, Western intervention happened. Now it's a failed state and a migration highway. Syria was stable. Then, proxy wars and foreign intervention. Now millions of refugees. Iraq was stable. Then, weapons of mass destruction that didn't exist. Now ongoing instability and displacement. Afghanistan was, well, we all know how that ended. Seeing a pattern? But it's not just military intervention. Economic warfare works too. International trade deals that force developing countries to open their markets to Western corporations. Structural adjustment programs that cut social services. Debt traps that keep countries dependent. Climate change policies that restrict development in poor countries while rich countries got wealthy using fossil fuels. The same institutions and interests that destabilize regions then profit from managing the resulting migration crisis. It's like an arsonist who also owns the fire department. And here's the really sick part. They use the media to make you think this is all natural. Just things that happen. Bad luck, inevitable consequences. But it's not. It's engineered. Speaking of media, let's talk about how your anger is being weaponized. Every immigration story you see is designed to make you feel a certain way. Fear, anger, helplessness. They'll show you footage of crowds at borders. They'll interview frustrated citizens. They'll bring on experts who argue about symptoms while ignoring causes. But they'll never show you the corporate boardrooms where labor strategies are planned. They'll never investigate which politicians receive donations from private prison companies. They'll never trace the money flowing from defense contractors to immigration hawks. Why? Because many media companies are owned by the same investment firms that profit from immigration chaos. It's not conspiracy, it's business. They need you divided. They need you fighting each other instead of asking why wages haven't increased in decades while productivity skyrocketed. They need you blaming immigrants instead of asking why healthcare costs bankrupted millions while insurance companies made record profits. Your anger is the product. Confusion is the goal. Because an angry, confused population doesn't ask the right questions. They just vote for whoever promises to make the anger go away. But the anger never goes away, because the real problems never get addressed. So what's the solution they don't want you to discover? It's actually simple. But it requires you to stop fighting the wrong enemy. Instead of building walls to keep desperate people out, how about we stop creating the desperation? Instead of criminalizing workers, how about we criminalize employers who exploit them? Instead of accepting stagnant wages because immigrants work cheaper, how about we demand fair wages for everyone? Instead of underfunding schools and hospitals and blaming overcrowding, how about we tax the corporations and billionaires who use our infrastructure but pay nothing for it? The solutions exist: living wages, universal health care, funded education, international policies based on cooperation instead of exploitation. But these solutions have one problem. They reduce profits for the people who currently benefit from chaos. So they'll never be proposed by politicians who depend on those people's donations. The only way change happens is when enough people see through the game and demand something different. So here's your choice. You can keep playing their game. Keep fighting other struggling people while the real winners count their profits. Or you can start asking the right questions. Who profits from the problems you're angry about? Why do those problems never seem to get solved despite billions spent on them? You can keep being a game piece, or you can flip the board. The information is out there. The connections are visible once you start looking. The question is, are you ready to see what's really going on? Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. And that's when the real change begins. What will you choose? Let me know in the comments below.